Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 303 for July 4th, 2023. Happy Independence Day, everybody. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, the Birmingham Stallions are your 2023 USFL champions. 4 more NFL players have been suspended for gambling, and ESPN has laid off several longtime NFL analysts. But I'm not here by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son Adam.
If you thought it was bad, blowing a 28-3 lead in a Super Bowl for the Atlanta Falcons, think how bad it must be for the country of England to blow a 13 colony lead to the United States of America.
Jeez.
Happy 4th of July,
I
everybody.
wondered where you were going with that. Is he bringing up a soccer reference?
Oh, no. Just goes to show you how many Super Bowls have you won, England? We got 57 Super Bowls over here.
You know, one of my favorite musicals of all time is 1776. It was made
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
back in 1776. In high school, I was a junior that year when Bicentennial happened, and they took us to Lansing to see that movie in the theater.
Right on.
It was awesome. I still love that today. Are we done talking?
Are we done talking about random stuff? Are we done talking about this country who's celebrating its birthday today?
That's right. Yeah, I think we are. I'll get out there and start grilling here pretty soon. We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. You can also find our podcast in its full audio form on our YouTube channel, which is YouTube/@theworldoffootball, as well as other selected videos, like last week's history lesson, which are now exclusively on YouTube, about 2 teams that won league championships and then left town the very next season. So let's begin today's show with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right. We have 10 games this week through 4 different leagues, and that's 10 games that you can count on all 10 of your fingers as long as you're not blowing those fingers off this weekend with your fireworks. How would you like to be one of those guys? Oof. Be careful out there, everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to start in the most American country of all, in Canada, who celebrated Canada.
Canada Day weekend.
Canada Day weekend. So, hey, we love our Canadian brethren up there. As long as, they're supplying us with maple syrup and great Canadian football, they will always have a soft spot in my heart.
Yeah, and smoke in our air.
Oh, and the smoke. I was going to ignore that. I was going to move past it. We finally moved past it a little bit.
It's getting better. It's a lot better now.
Yeah. But anyway, it was week 4 in the CFL season. Goodness gracious, I love having the CFL back. Mm-hmm. Friday night saw the Ottawa Red Blacks defeat the Edmonton Elks 26-7. Those poor Edmonton Elks have not been able to catch a break the last few years.
I think I read somewhere that since they became the Edmonton Elks, they have not won a home game.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before.
My God.
But it is the first win of the season for Ottawa, while the Elks remained winless on the year. Ottawa quarterback Tyree Adams completed 14 passes for 184 yards and a touchdown, while running back DeMontre Tuggle ran the ball 17 times for 126 yards and a touchdown. Then kicker Lewis Ward kicked 4 field goals for the Red Blacks. Then on the Edmonton side of the ball, quarterback Jarrett Dagey completed 19 passes for 223 yards, a touchdown, but threw 3 interceptions. And if you're a winless team, that certainly does not help.
Yeah, quarterback Jarrett. Last week we pronounced it Daggy because that's the way I heard one of the announcers. And then on this week I heard him pronounce it Dagey. Oh. So I don't know if it's Daggy, but it's pronounced or spelled really funny. So I had to write it phonetically here. But yeah, the poor Edmonton Elks just can't seem to get it going. Yeah. And what a great name, DeMontre Tuggle, running back for them.
That sounds like a Hall of Famer name if I've ever heard one.
Right.
All right, then on Saturday, I love that it seems like every day there's a different CFL game. Like we haven't had any doubleheaders during a day.
That's what they've been doing.
Spread it out. It's been great.
Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
Heck yeah.
And like last week, I think they did just Friday, Saturday, and then a Monday night game. This last night was the last game of the weekend.
Yep. And then Saturday saw the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeat the Montreal Alouettes 17-3 on Canada Day. Winnipeg quarterback Zach Caleros completed 15 passes for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns, while running back Brady Oliveira ran the ball 20 times for 120 yards, and wide receiver Dalton Schoen caught 5 passes for 86 yards and a touchdown. Montreal's quarterback Cody Fajardo completed 17 passes for 270 yards, while wide receiver Keon Julian Grant caught 6 passes for 126 yards, while his teammate wide receiver Austin Mack also caught 6 passes for 115 yards. Montreal's lone score during the game came on a 27-yard field goal with 6 minutes remaining in regulation by David Cote. I think that's how you say his name, right?
Yeah.
Cote?
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
All right. And then on Monday Night Football, Canada version, the defending Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts took out the British Columbia Lions, who everybody was kind of pegging as the new powerhouse in the league.
Yeah.
Boy, so much happens in 1 week because British Columbia did not look like the team we thought they were for a minute. And if anything, I think the Argonauts look vastly improved compared to last year. I say that this week, then they're going to get blown out next week.
Well, I mean, they won a Grey Cup last year.
They did win a Grey Cup, but
get better than that.
You would have thought that Winnipeg's still the team to beat this year.
Sure.
We weren't sure about the Argos upgrades, but man, that Argos team looks like they have upgraded, and they look like a scary team to try to defend their title. It was a battle of unbeaten teams going into the game, but after that game, Toronto is now the lone unbeaten team in the league at 3-0. Argos quarterback Chad Kelly completed 23 passes for 249 yards and a touchdown, while running back AJ Ouellette. Yeah, there's too many L's. Ouellette ran the ball 14 times for 70 yards and a touchdown. For the British Columbia Lions, quarterback Vernon Adams completed 24 passes for 388 yards and, get this, 6 interceptions.
Towards the end of the game, he was just throwing it up to try and get the ball away because they had so much pressure on him, and he was just trying to get rid of it.
Man. And then wide receiver Keon Hatcher caught 8 passes for 104 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
On bye this week, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Calgary Stampeders all on that bye week.
Yeah,
what do you got?
That Toronto BC game was the best highlights of the week.
Yeah.
If you're only going to look at one highlight set, check out the game from last night.
Obviously, you should look at all the highlight sets. Yeah. But I mean, we've obviously been rooting for the Argos. We'll root for the Tiger Cats. We love just CFL, but to see the Argonauts just blow the doors off the British Columbia Lions like that, ooh, baby. All right, then we're going to move on. I'm a little surprised we didn't lead with this, but the USFL championship game was this weekend in Canton, Ohio. Randy just messing up our flow here.
I was just so excited about the CFL.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Especially during 4th of July weekend. Come on, Randy, leading with Canada. What were you thinking?
Yeah, when I think 4th of July, I think Canada Day.
I think Canton, Ohio. The Birmingham Stallions at 10-2 defeated the Pittsburgh Maulers at 5-7, 28-12, which is a little closer of a game than that score indicates, as the Stallions now win back-to-back USFL titles, and Birmingham is 21-3 over the last 2 seasons altogether. How about that?
That's when I saw that, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I know they've been a really good team, but I didn't realize that they've only lost 3 games in 2 years.
Yep, and Stallions quarterback Alex Magoo completed 18 passes during the game. He looked fantastic, throwing for 243 yards and 4 touchdowns. While wide receiver Dean Cain, not related to Superman's Dean Cain, caught 4 passes for 70 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had 5 kickoff returns for 101 yards and was named the game's MVP. Pittsburgh quarterback Troy Williams completed 24 passes for 143 yards and no touchdowns. And I do like to say, that first half was close. I think the Maulers hung in there. The Stallions got a couple of big plays. The Maulers also got one big play kind of called back due to a forward handoff.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, man. I mean, they got the turnover, but the guy... Big dude, lineman running down the field, knew he wasn't going to make it to the end zone, so he handed it off to a teammate, which was a smart move.
Right.
Just not so smart handing the ball forward. That is where you made your mistake, but they still got the ball back, and I don't think they got a field goal out of that.
I think they missed a field goal.
They missed the field goal. I think that was the drive they missed the field goal. So I think any points out of that touchdown could have been a big swing.
Yep.
Had that little mistake not happened, but I mean, the Maulers, their turnaround from last year shouldn't go unnoticed. They were 1-9 last year.
Right, yeah.
Turning around, they got to the championship game this year, and they actually, I thought, put up a fight in that game. But the Stallions being the best team in the USFL the last 2 years was just a little too much to overcome.
Yeah, like you said, the Stallions ended this season with a 10-2 record.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh ends with a 5-7 record. So I mean, they had a losing record going into the playoffs. I think if they'd have won everything, they would have had a 6-6 record.
Yeah.
But uh, so everybody kind of expected Birmingham to win. But boy, it was like you said, it was a closer game than the score indicates. And yeah, congratulations to Pittsburgh and to Birmingham.
Yeah, and of course something I don't know if you're going to mention this later, but as I quickly scroll through, Alex Magoo named the USFL MVP of the season. He's going to get some eyes, I hope, from some NFL teams. He played some outstanding football, filling in for their starter who got hurt like week 1. They had so many injuries, and the fact that this team still maintained, playing such a high level of football all season.
Yeah, especially in the
quite
last couple
remarkable.
weeks,
Oh, yeah.
the playoff game and this game,
He just
really,
absolutely was a monster.
really played out of his mind.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get a look at.
I hope. I
some
can't wait to see
NFL
what
training
team picks
camp.
him up. That's something we should definitely keep an eye on.
Yep.
All right, then we're going to move on to the indoor football league. It was week 16 in that league. Saturday night had a triple header, which started with the Frisco Fighters defeating the Sioux Falls Storm 56-15. Talk about a beat down there. The Green Bay Blizzards squeaked by the Tulsa Oilers 58-55. And then the Vegas Nighthawks defeated the Tucson Sugar Skulls 40-34. And then on Sunday, the Arizona Rattlers defeated the Massachusetts Pirates 52-43. But the story from this game is not the fact that the Rattlers came out with the victory, but rather an incident that occurred during the game that led to several Massachusetts Pirates players and their head coach being suspended by the league.
Yeah, I miswrote that. I did a little more research. It wasn't their head coach; it was an assistant coach.
Okay.
But yeah.
Way to change the script before I said all that.
Like I said, I had all the details farther down the script than what I had up there, and I forgot to look back at what I wrote. But originally, I thought it was a bunch of players. Turns out it was 3 players and an assistant coach for the Pirates who all been suspended indefinitely.
Yeah.
When the press release came out, a lot of people were confused because it said something about the players and the team had been suspended, meaning the team was suspended. That's the way it was kind of worded, and people were confused. Is the team suspended? It looks like the team is not suspended. The team will keep on playing, but these players and an assistant coach are gone indefinitely from the league because of this. They went up in the stands and I guess confronted some stands. There was probably some
fans.
and with as many arena games and indoor games that you and I have been to, you can see where this might happen because some of the fans get pretty loud, pretty mouthy. And they're right there.
You're right by the bench.
Right by the bench and the players and in the end zone. They can be pretty unrelenting sometimes to the players. And sometimes a player will lose it. They shouldn't. This is an awful thing when you go up in the crowd and want to pick a fight with somebody. But son of a gun, I can see where the potential is there.
Yeah.
These players have to be a little bit better than that.
It's a scary thing. I saw the video from it because as soon as I saw the press release, I had not heard about the story prior to that. So I had to look up the video. I don't know what started the fight, what started this.
I didn't
whole
see any
incident.
video. I saw the press release.
I saw a couple of videos. The players going to. I don't know what was the instigating factor in this.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're a player in any of these leagues, it doesn't matter how big, how small. If you're a player, you know that you are absolutely not supposed to go into the stands. It does not matter.
Yeah.
We've not seen anything good come of players going into the stands.
Right.
If you have a problem with fans, the obvious, cool-headed thing is to tell security, let them throw the person out.
Right.
Then that's that.
Right.
Dust your hands of it. But, I get it. Emotions are running high. Players are out there, testosterone at a maximum level, and somebody says the wrong thing, whether it be just a generic insult or something racial, something, derogatory. I get it. We're all human. It could set us off, but at some point you got to realize, like, you're in the stands, you're in your little box there, especially, like, don't reach back. Don't interact with the fans like that. You could probably exchange words, but even then you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, let security deal with it. I mean, not worth losing your job over. And here we go, 3 players and a coach.
Yep.
Out indefinitely.
Yep, they did lose their jobs over it. And when Massachusetts was the champion, last year or the year before? 2 years ago. So, I mean, and Arizona is always, I think everybody in the league hates Arizona because they've always been so good. They've won so many titles.
They're of all the indoor football teams that play, arena teams that play, Arizona is the creme de la creme organization across every version of indoor football that's
Well,
out there right
there's
now.
a lot of good ones out there, but yes,
I mean, they've been
Arizona
around
is
30 years. They're,
yeah.
they've lasted the longest right now. I think they are the one of the oldest indoor
Always. I think
franchises.
a couple years ago they fielded a bad team, but other than that,
Right.
they're always in the
They're
playoffs every
consistent.
year.
Yep.
They're always playing for a championship. But oh my gosh, you can't go into Arizona and pick a fight with their fans. It's just
Right.
you can't do that.
All right, and then on bye this week in the IFL, the San Diego Strike Force, Bay Area Panthers, Northern Arizona Wranglers, Quad City Steamwheelers, Iowa Barnstormers, and Duke City Gladiators. Then we're going to quickly look at the Indoor Football League standings with 2 weeks left in the regular season. In the East, you have the Frisco Fighters at 12-2 who've clinched the playoff spot, along with the Massachusetts Pirates at 9-4 who have also clinched playoff spots. The Quad City Steamwheelers sit at 8-5. The Sioux Falls Storm and Green Bay Blizzard both sit at 7-6. The Iowa Barnstormers at 3-10 have been eliminated from playoff contention, as have the 1-13 Tulsa Oilers. In the West, you have the Arizona Rattlers at 10-4, who've clinched a playoff berth. The Bay Area Panthers at 8-5, who have also clinched a playoff berth. The 7-6 Tucson Sugar Skulls. The 6-7 Northern Arizona Wranglers. The 5-8 San Diego Strike Force. The 5-8 Duke City Gladiators, and the 5-9 Vegas Nighthawks, who have been eliminated from playoff contention. All right, then in the National Arena League, we had 2 games this week, and as we know, they've lost a couple teams, so their
Okay.
schedule is dwindled dramatically.
Yes.
On Saturday, doubleheader, the Orlando Predators defeated the San Antonio Gunslingers 52-33, and then the Carolina Cobras defeated the West Texas Warbirds 50-41, with the Jacksonville Sharks on bye. And then so we look at those National Arena League standings. The Gunslingers of San Antonio sit at 8-2, the Jacksonville Sharks at 7-2. The Carolina Cobras at 6-4, the Orlando Predators at 4-5, and the Texas Warbirds at 2-9.
Yeah, that loss by San Antonio was only their second loss of the season.
Yeah.
They've been steamrolling through the whole NAL this year, but we'll see. I'm sure they're still going to be there at the
Oh
end,
yeah.
but
They'd still be my betting
yeah.
favorite. And that is it for this week's World of Football scoreboard.
All right, yeah, only 10 games this week. Where a week or two ago we had over 20 games
Yeah.
going on, and
It's gonna cool down for a little
yeah.
bit, and then
So next week we'll only have scores from 3 different leagues. The USFL is done.
and we're about a month away from NFL preseason starting to
Yep.
fire up. So
Yep. Yeah, things are changing. So
yeah.
our script will be changing here pretty soon. Let's see. We'll move on to some NFL news. 4 more NFL players have been suspended for gambling. Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry of the Indianapolis Colts, free agent Demetrius Taylor, they've all been suspended indefinitely through at least the conclusion of the 2023 season for betting on NFL games in 2022. The fourth person is Nicholas Pettit Ferrer of the Tennessee Titans. He was suspended uh, for the team's first 6 regular season games of 2023 for betting on non-NFL sports at a club facility. This is exactly what happened a few weeks ago,
I'm trying
a
a
month
couple months
ago.
yeah.
But yeah, the same thing that happened to the Detroit Lions players, that one Washington Redskin player. Either betting on football or betting on
Stuff
non-football stuff
at
in a
the
facility.
yeah.
And
It's just I mean there's got to be more. I have
I
to
think there
believe
probably will be more.
there's probably more gonna be more coming. I mean, as of right now, the highest profile player impacted by all this, I would say, is Jamison Williams from Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? Not Demetrius Taylor. I'm looking through the names real quick here. Isaiah Rodgers, the cornerback of the Colts. Apparently his suspension, is because he placed a bet on one of his own players. It was like
Really?
whether a teammate was going to get 1,000 yards or not on the season. He
Oh.
made a bet. So like that especially is stupid. Like you're betting on your own teammates.
Right.
It's just it's silly. But somebody made a point that like, what if Roger Goodell is betting on games? How do we know who's regulating if Roger Goodell and all these guys are betting on games too? This could go so far. If any of that stuff broke, it's over. Like
Well, when they opened up that Pandora's box to allow gambling, to be a partner with DraftKings and all these other betting sites and casinos and whatnot, so that they could make an extra dollar out of all these people's obsessions with gambling, then this is the result. Uh, Players are now thinking, well, that our league is a partner with this. We can bet all we want. It's all legal now, so here we go. And they can't do that.
And even what was it? I think the Titans player there, Petit Ferrer, he put out something. I swear that I read that said something along the lines. He followed the legal rules of his state's gambling policy, and it is because he did it at the facility that is what got him essentially. And he admitted to it. He's like, okay, yeah, like they got me for doing it at the facility, but I followed all the other state rules or whatever. But
Well, there's a difference between the
there's
state
there is
rules
and
and
the
the
NFL.
NFL's
Just like we were
rules.
talking about with
Yep.
college last week, there's difference between the college NIL rules and then your state NIL rules. So
Mhm.
it's a weird thing that these players gotta be a little more self-aware of and navigate. And it's also on the league at getting that out there, which I don't
Right.
understand how hard it is to go, all right, we're gonna partner with DraftKings and this sports book and this sports book. And here are the rules, players. Don't bet on any of our games at all whatsoever. Doesn't matter what degree you're doing, whether it's parlay or prop bets. It doesn't matter.
And don't bet on your friends' statistics. Like will my teammate get 1,000 yards
That's
this
essentially
year?
the same thing. Anything that has to do with our league,
Right.
don't touch it. And if I think they should have put like at the start of the league season to the Super Bowl or Pro Bowl, whatever, have a start and end date. Like, look, you can absolutely not bet on anything between these dates,
Right.
but we'll open it up. Like, even maybe I don't even know if like you could say at a team facility. If the rule is no at your team facility, then absolutely don't do it there. But any other sports, probably fair game. Even though I think college football should also be off limits to some of these guys because some of these guys
Well,
have connections to their old universities,
true.
and I think that is a rule. You're not. That's something that got Jameson in trouble too. Was betting on
College
college
game from the
games,
facility.
but from the facility.
Yeah.
So I think they just gotta sit down with their players and be like, guys, you also make 7 figures. Why are you placing bets on anything? You guys are making enough money to work. Unless you're going to put down $1 million on a game, what are you gaining from betting?
Right.
Is it just the fun? Is it just like that social aspect of it? Maybe.
Right.
Sure, it could be, but like, what do you gain from that? I just don't see an upside there for them doing it.
Everything to lose and nothing to gain. Really,
Yeah,
by making a stupid little
absolutely.
bet on the outcome of a game or some stat or
So, I
something.
mean, you don't really place bets. You said you were going to put a bet on the Lions at the
I am
sports
planning
book this year.
to go out to the casino here near us and put down a bet on the Lions to win the Super Bowl this
Okay.
year.
Oh.
But that's it. The last time I did that was 1986 I'm sorry, 1996 or 1997 when I was in Las Vegas. I went and laid
See,
down.
I've
a
never
bet
done it
for
at a sports book. I've always done all my betting on my phone.
Right.
And so
No, I want to actually go there.
fine. We're going to turn it into a YouTube video. Let us know,
Sure.
fans. Should we put a video of Randy going to a casino and placing a bet? Maybe I'll do one too. We'll see. But yeah, I don't get it for these guys. I don't get it whatsoever because you've never played on your phone. But it is so easy. It's so
Oh
easy
yeah,
to open
they
your
make
phone
it so
now.
easy.
It tracks your. It makes sure to ask me every time I have to authorize because like if I'm in Michigan, obviously I'm good. But like the moment I was outside in Ohio, like we're traveling, nope, I can't do anything because I'm sitting there in Ohio. So it's the access is just so crazy easy.
Well, I wonder if these apps could if a player, I mean, they know who these players are.
Yeah, they get flagged.
Can't they be like you said? You can't make a bet in Ohio because it's not legal there. Can't these can't the league say here's the league, here's our players, and none of them are allowed to bet on NFL? And isn't there a way that they can put that in the app where the app will not allow them to do this sort of
I don't
thing?
know, and especially if they're sponsored. Like if you're sponsored by DraftKings or something, maybe they should have a special. Hey, NFL players, if you still want to bet,
Some kind of filter.
here's the settings for a special app for just the players to still participate, but it will not work inside your team facility. It will not work. Maybe they have that technology. I don't know, but at the same time, I think it's common sense enough to be like, don't push the app button while you're at your job or on the
Yeah.
team bus or anywhere. Just wait till you get home. It's silly.
It's crazy.
All right. Speaking of crazy,
Moving on to another story. This just floored me when I heard this the other day. ESPN has laid off about 20 on-air people, including one of my favorites, Susie Colbert from Monday Night Countdown. She's been with ESPN for 27
yeah,
years
she's great.
and got laid off with a bunch of other people. They got rid of People like Keyshawn Johnson and Max Kellerman from the Keyshawn
Yeah, morning
J.
show.
Will, yeah, J. Will and Max, whatever they call that.
They just scrapped that whole morning show
Yeah,
apparently,
yeah. Jeff Van Gundy, Matt Hasselbeck, former NFL quarterback, and Steve Young
and many
all got
more.
the axe,
Yeah,
and a bunch of others.
Jalen Rose.
Yep, people that did basketball or yeah, Chris Chelios from he was like a hockey analyst for him. So yeah, they just gutted a lot of their big name people, and some of the people were thinking that maybe this had something to do with a bunch of cuts at Disney.
Oh
Their,
yeah,
their parent
I was going to
company.
bring that up because yeah, Disney's been saying they're going to cut the 7,000 jobs.
Hmm.
They're trying to save. I forget the exact amount of money. They're trying to save a bunch of money, and ESPN's an appendage of Disney,
Right.
so it makes sense that I mean this has been in the works for a while. I've seen people blaming like the Pat McAfee show coming in, and this is why they're gutting a lot of these people, which isn't the reason. Like maybe there is a little bit of it just helps that they're making room for a little bit of Pat McAfee's staff salary when he comes in, but that's not the reason these people got the axe. It was cuts all around. They definitely said they're going to renegotiate differently going forward with employees, so we'll see. I think somebody like Susie Colbert should be able to land on her feet.
She's gonna wind up at
All
an
these
NFL Network.
all these people will end up somewhere
Oh
that
yeah,
will want these
they're
personalities.
too well known to not find a job
Right.
and
Steve Young
searching for a
wouldn't
job.
surprise me. He goes over to Fox or something like,
Yeah,
you know, that's where they take all the former quarterbacks over there at Fox.
Fox, NBC, CBS,
Yeah,
ABC, NFL Network. A lot of these folks
they
will
will
find a
find
job.
jobs, or they can do what the trend is, which is kind of the whole reason for the sports uh like the analysts landscape changing is there's so much on YouTube now. These guys Susie Colbert could probably go on YouTube and like just totally start her own NFL YouTube channel or something. She could, and she'd probably do just fine. That's where the culture's swinging to. It's not people sitting around watching Sports Center every day. It's not people
Yeah.
sitting around watching the debate shows all day. They'll watch the clips on YouTube. They go watch Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless on YouTube clips, and then they jump over to Pat McAfee, and then they jump over to Barstool Sports. The landscape has changed so dramatically that I, I think it is kind of a smart move for ESPN to kind of work away from some of these big names. If you're saving money, I get it, but I also think ESPN's got a programming problem. That's another thing. That's a
Could
whole
be.
issue for another day.
Could be.
But I do think some of these personalities will end up in other places. It wouldn't surprise me if a couple of them maybe started their own YouTube ventures or company or podcast or whatever that's going to get more eyes and ears on them.
Yeah, but you look at Kay Adams, who was on the what was it, Good Morning
Good morning
Football.
football, yeah.
Yeah, she went someplace for one of the like DraftKings or something like that. She went there, and to me, totally dropped off the face of the earth. You see her on what is it? Commercials for Dick's Sporting
Oh
Goods.
yeah, but
That's the only time I've seen her anymore. So to me, she's totally gone away. So there's something to be said about landing a big job on the NFL Network, where you're actually on television, whether it's CBS, NBC, ABC, um, NFL Network, whatever. You go to some of these streaming services. Pat McAfee is big, on his website or whatever his
his YouTube
streaming.
channel, yeah.
Yeah, and whatever. But yeah, for the most part, I think a person the caliber of Susie Colbert and Steve Young and Matt Hasselbeck, they need to be on national TV, whether it's one of the four networks or NFL Network. They need to be out there where they're going to be associated with the games
Maybe,
week in and week out. That's just my
maybe.
opinion.
I just think there is some opportunity to starting your own thing on a
There are a lot
YouTube.
of options out there. Yes,
But
yes.
so we'll see. I just hope that they all land on their feet, and I'll be curious to see where they go, especially this close to the season starting up. Like, man, if a Fox or CBS or whoever can load up on some of these talent, like, boy, oh boy, we could have upgrade. I
Yeah.
already think Fox has got the best pregame
Yes.
out there, but like, think if a CBS landed a Susie Colbert or a Steve Young on
Yep.
top of. I mean, CBS is probably second to Fox in my opinion in terms of just like pregame and probably their NFL coverage staff.
I'd say NBC might be second with CBS third. Because NBC they've got the Monday night or Sunday night football.
I'm not just talking about the game pack. I'm talking about the personalities there. I mean, who's NBC? They lost Al Michaels, didn't they? I don't think he's back. They got Tarico. They got
I can't
Tony.
remember.
See, okay, okay.
I
Let's
know they got
rank.
Tony Dungy
Let's
in there.
rank our top 5 NFL pregame shows right now. I'm just kidding. We don't have to do that.
Fox is number one.
Fox is number.
And,
Fox is our
then
favorite.
there's everybody else.
Man, CBS is hitting
Give me
miss
Terry
sometimes.
Bradshaw and Howie Long. all those guys.
Jimmy Johnson and that
Yeah.
great hair he's had for 50 years.
And speaking of Jimmy Johnson,
Whoa.
you came up with a story that I
Oh,
had not heard a little while ago.
oh yeah. So apparently, Netflix, the streaming service that we all use at some point,
Uh,
is reportedly paying $50 million for the rights to have a Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, 10-part documentary series. Those are all the details I'm aware of right now. I don't know how much that will cover. Is it just like a day, 10 days in the life of Jerry Jones right now? Is it just a 10-part his whole career, which is what I assume it's going to be from, before he bought the team to buying the team to
firing Tom Landry.
some of the greatest coaches of all time to win him Super Bowls, and then the last 20, 30 years of futility the Dallas Cowboys have suffered. I can't say futility because they've had decent teams. They just haven't been able to get over the hump.
I'm sure it's all going to be Jerry Jones approved, so you won't.
I'm sure
you won't get all the negative stuff.
They'll avoid the cocaine on his boat, all that jazz.
Yeah, the women he was with in the men's room. Yeah,
all that stuff. How many cheerleaders he's probably had to personally vet. Yeah, that's slime. But anyway, so that's a thing that's out there. I saw that today. So
okay, interesting. That's a lot of money for a Netflix documentary.
Netflix. Well, Netflix operates on one of those budgets that like they lose money every year anyway. They're like hundreds of $1 million in debt every year, but they can throw out $50 million for more content. So whatever.
Okay, so let's move on to some college news. LSU has vacated all of its 37 football wins from 2012 to 2015, including 2 bowl games, after a review of violations from the NCAA's Independent Accountability Resolution Panel. That's a whole mouthful there. Former offensive lineman Vidal Alexander was determined to be ineligible for his entire college career. Since the vacated wins came under the head coach Les Miles' era, he is no longer eligible for induction into the College Football Hall of Fame. Prior to the penalties, Miles' record as a head coach was 145 wins and 73 losses. His official record now is 108 wins and 73 losses, which gives him a winning percentage of 597%.
Is that math right? Like over 3 seasons, they were undefeated for 3 seasons?
No.
Because if you're going from 145 and 73, they're vacating wins. Okay.
Yes.
My bad.
Yes.
I had a brain fart. I was like, wait a minute. All that's changed were wins.
Right.
That's exactly what was vacated, Adam. Come on now.
Candidates for the College Football Hall of Fame must have a minimum of a 600 career winning percentage. So he's like 3 points under what he needed to get in the Hall of Fame.
That's still some nonsense though. If you're gonna vacate wins, then vacate the losses too. Like that's stupid. Like that'd be like an ineligible game. I think that's silly.
I don't make the rules. I'm just.
I think this whole vacating wins thing. We might have talked about this before. Vacating wins is the stupidest thing in college sports. Like the argument that I hear people make seems valid to me. I watched the games happen. I watched the 2012 LSU Tigers win football games. I watched them go to bowl games. Like I watched them win bowl games. Like it's just.
But they did it with an ineligible player.
With one ineligible player. I don't know how integral to the team he was or what. It's just, I think vacating wins is silly, but I don't know what other punishment there is. If a dude was truly ineligible that whole time, I mean.
Well, did he play in every game? I don't know.
I have no idea.
If he only played in 5 or 6 games, then it seems like they should only vacate those 5 or 6 games.
It's like, why did it take 10 years? This player started playing 11 years ago. Why is it taking this long to figure out, oh, so-and-so was ineligible? Like, how do you not know this?
Maybe somebody had it in for him.
Yeah. Maybe, but it's just, I don't know. I think it's silly. Maybe smarter people out there can explain to me why vacating wins is the way to go with this. Yeah. I don't think it just stinks for, I mean, maybe, you punish Les Miles. Maybe you just punish the coach. Maybe you just punish him, not the university. Well, you probably do vacate.
Yeah, well, he's not there anymore. And
it's silly. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, you hear about some of these schools who got to vacate wins, and it's just like, what about all those other guys that came in and put in the work? You're gonna vacate everything for one dude that maybe he was ineligible on a technicality. Like, I don't know. It's just silly.
I don't know what the right answer is on that, but this is what's happened. So anyway, bottom line is he's not eligible to be inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. And I looked to see if he was on the 2024 ballot that they're voting on right now. he was not on the 2024 ballot. So it's not like they have to take him off this year's ballot. He was not there. All right, another story. Colorado head coach Deion Sanders had emergency surgery. I think this was on Friday, on both of his legs in order to remove some blood clots. There was talk that he might have to have his left foot amputated if the surgeries were not successful in clearing the blood clots, but everything came out okay. Sanders had two toes amputated last year on his left foot, and he missed 3 games during the season while he was recovering for this. So good for him. I mean, it's bad enough you've lost a couple of toes, and then you still got the bad circulation in your feet, and um, I'm glad he didn't have to lose a whole foot, but I guess he posted some videos saying, everything went okay. I'm grateful for that, and hopefully he'll make a full recovery for this and be ready to coach when the season starts this year. And then one last thing that I found in college football. I just found this just before we started recording. The University of Florida has announced a $400 million renovation at their stadium. The Swamp, as it's known, was built in 1930 and has undergone multiple expansions in its nearly 100-year history. But this is the first time, this will be the first major renovation. It seats about 90,000 fans right now. No details are known about at this time. They haven't even hired an architect to make the changes. They just know that they're going to put 400 million towards it. They don't know what the final cost is going to be. They don't know when it's going to start, or no details on what they're going to be doing for renovations. But that just came out, I think today or yesterday, that they're going to be doing some renovations. So more on that when we know more. All right, today's birthdays: the 4th of July. Al Davis, born on this date in 1929. He died in 2011 at the age of 82. He was a scout with the Baltimore Colts in 1954 at the age of 24. He was an assistant coach in college at the Citadel in 1955 and 1956, and at USC from 1957 to 59. He was an assistant coach with the Los Angeles and LA Chargers from 1960 to 1962. Then he was the head coach of the Oakland Raiders from 63 to 65. He also was the commissioner of the AFL at the age of 36. He served as a commissioner from 1966 to 1970. He's been a minority owner and GM of he was a minority owner and GM of the Raiders from 66 to 71. He was the principal owner and GM from 72 until his death in 2011. He moved the team from Oakland to LA from 82 to 94, and then back to Oakland again after that. He won an AFL title in 1967, but lost in Super Bowl II to the Packers, but then went on to have 3 Super Bowl wins, 2 in Oakland and 1 in Los Angeles. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1992. Very interesting. I always thought he was kind of a jerk the way he treated the NFL. He always had problems with the commissioner. But then I learned a little bit more about his story, and he was thrown into being the AFL commissioner in 1966, I guess it was. And then right after that, they started secret negotiations without telling him about it to merge the AFL and the NFL, and he was dead set against it. So now I understand where his attitude came from. That hey, I was a commissioner and I didn't, I wasn't involved in this. So yeah, I can see where he had a thing against the NFL for many years, and now he's got that a permanent flame going on at the new stadium in Las Vegas where the team is at.
We
now.
got to check out at some point.
Yes, I got to go there and see that one of these days.
But you're finally getting to see his Raiders team play before your eyes this year. That's
we've got tickets to that.
The last team you've ever seen in the NFL.
Yeah, that'll be all of the current 32 teams, plus a few others like the Houston Oilers and God, who else? I think there was 1 or 2 others that don't exist anymore that get moved or merged or whatever. But okay, let's talk about some obituaries. We got 4 of them this week. This is where we take a moment and honor those who've made the world of football a better place. The first obituary is that of Vince Tobin, who coached in college, the USFL, the NFL, and the Canadian Football League. He's passed away at the age of 79. In college, Tobin was an assistant coach at Missouri from 1971 to 76. He was also an assistant coach with the British Columbia Lions in the CFL from 77 to 82. He then coached in the USFL with the Philadelphia/Baltimore Stars from 83 to 85. Tobin also coached with 5 teams in the NFL. He was an assistant coach with the Bears from 86 to 92, and the Indianapolis Colts from 94 to 95, and he was the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals from 1996 to 2000. He finished his coaching career as an assistant coach with the Detroit Lions in 2001 and with the Green Bay Packers in 2004.
Our next obituary is that of Tom Bainon.
Bainon? I'm going to say Bainon.
Tom Bainon, a guard and tackle in the Canadian Football League for 5 seasons, has passed away at the age of 81. Bainon played college football at Queen's University. He was selected by the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the 1965 CFL draft, but in 1966 was traded to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He played in Saskatchewan in 1966 and 1967, as well as for the Ottawa Roughriders from 1968 to 1970. In his 5 CFL seasons, he played in 4 Grey Cup games, winning 3 CFL titles, 1 in Saskatchewan and 2 in Ottawa.
Our next obituary is that of Mike Spivey, a defensive back in the NFL for 6 seasons. He has passed away at the age of 69. Spivey played college football at Colorado and was selected in the second round of the 1977 NFL draft by the Chicago Bears. He played in Chicago from 1977 to 1979. He also played for the Oakland Raiders in 1980 and was traded during the season to the New Orleans Saints, where he played through 1981. He finished his playing career with the Atlanta Falcons in 1982. He won a Super Bowl title for being a member of that Raiders team in 1980.
All right. And then our final obituary this week is that of Ryan Mallett, a quarterback in the NFL for 5 seasons, has passed away by drowning while swimming in the Gulf of Mexico down in Destin, Florida, at the age of 35.
Wow.
At least 11 people, including Mallett, have passed away over a period of 2 weeks due to rip currents on the Florida Panhandle.
Yeah, there's a big problem with people drowning down there. I mean, all over the coastline. It's not just this one town, but it's up and down the coast.
Yeah, it's getting bad. Mallett played college football at Michigan and Arkansas and was selected in the 3rd round of the 2011 NFL draft by the New England Patriots. He played in New England for 1 season in 2012. He then signed with the Houston Texans in 2014 and was traded during the season to the Baltimore Ravens, where he played through 2017. In 2022, Mallett was hired as the head football coach at Whitehall High School in Arkansas.
Yeah, so he's done with his NFL career. He's, being a
35 years old.
coach. Yeah,
Man,
35 years old and drowns in the ocean. A lot of other people. I mean, they talk a lot about sharks getting people these days around Florida, but drownings is another thing. So. All right, let's see. We're going to mention this week's history lesson, though we don't do them on the show anymore. They're exclusively on our YouTube channel because we're doing videos, and then we're kind of reworking some of the ones we've done many years ago. This week's history lesson is 4 college football stadiums that are also National Historic Landmarks. This particular history lesson we originally did back in May of 2018. So.
Dang.
Added a few things to it and got some nice video and whatnot. You're still working on that, but that should be out tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning, hopefully.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for that. Set your alarms.
Yeah. Let's see. Upcoming events calendar. Thursday, August 3rd, Pro Football Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio.
It's less than a month.
The Cleveland Browns will take on the New York Jets. We still don't know about the
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks, yeah. The Jets going to be there. You said that was the word
that
last
was the
week.
report that was kind of floating around. Nothing official yet, and we are less than a month away from the preseason kicking off.
I wonder if they're going to cancel it. I wonder if they're not going to have one.
I wonder if it's done.
I mean, if they cancel it this year, they'll never come back with it again.
Sure, they've gone years where they didn't have seasons before, but maybe they do need to take a year off. Maybe Hard Knocks needs to be revamped a little bit. I mean, we loved Hard Knocks this last year. The Lions was one of the best seasons they had in a few years, but
they've ruined it for everybody else. They were so good.
Apparently,
they
the
ruined it for everybody else.
We'll see, though. I mean, who knows? We could be talking about this tomorrow.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But as soon as we stop recording, they're going to come out and announce.
We said that the last 5 weeks. As soon as we stop recording. Yeah.
All right. Tuesday, August 15th is going to be our 6th anniversary show. We're going to have we're going to have some highlights over of at least the past year.
Lowlights, you mean?
From mainly stuff about you that I can find.
Revenge is a dish best served on the podcast.
That's right. Saturday, August 26th, FBS College Football Week 0. The featured game is Navy versus Notre Dame in Dublin, Ireland, and there are also 6 other games that day. And then finally, Thursday, September 7th, the NFL regular season begins with our beloved Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. What a night that will be. You better be
God.
taking the next day off work.
Well, I am
Oh, that's
actually.
right. You're going to be at
I'll be at my music
the
festival.
music festival. Yep, you'll be camping somewhere.
Yep.
Well, anything else before we call this a show for this week?
No, I just want to say I hope everybody has a good, fun, safe 4th of July. We're recording this a
Safe,
little early
especially.
today. It'll
Yep.
hopefully get up a little early today.
Yeah, we got some not brats, but we got some lunch to make for
Yeah.
later on, and enjoy the rest of the days. We got some beautiful weather here in Michigan.
Yeah, it's
A
actually
little
really
hazy. I don't know if that's still smoke from Canada,
I don't know.
but I took a walk this morning outside.
Oh, the air quality alert was back up again today, so I don't
Yeah.
know if that had anything to do with it. But I mean, shoot, you had a nice, fun trip over the weekend.
I
You got
did.
to run into some. If you want to tell this story before we go out, you should
Okay.
about a weird coincidence you had on your trip going down to Kentucky.
Yes, went down to Kentucky. We stayed at this one Holiday Inn that we stay at quite a bit, and there was also a lot of Corvette owners there. They were having a Corvette Club convention, and they were also staying at the hotel. So when we pulled into the driveway, the place was just packed with Corvettes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And the next morning, I was going out to the car, and all these Corvette people were leaving, so there's only 2 elevators, and it was packed. So I took the stairs, and I go down the stairs, and when I get down to the end of the first level, a guy's holding the door open for me, and he sees my Detroit Lions hat, and he says, "Hey, you're from Michigan?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Whereabouts?" I said, "Kalamazoo." And he goes, "Man, there's a lot of Kalamazoo people here this weekend here at the hotel." I said, "Really? What's going on?" He goes, "Little John Flowers is getting married this weekend." Now, if you're not familiar with Little John Flowers, he's from Kalamazoo, and he played. God, did he go to Michigan State? I can't remember.
I'll look it
I
up.
can't remember where he played college
I
football.
know one
But
of his teammates you're about to bring up did.
yeah, T.J. Duckett, who supposedly was also there. But the guy was telling me that a lot of his former teammates with the Kalamazoo explosion of the Continental Indoor Football League were going to be there at the hotel because that's where they were staying for this wedding weekend. And I remember Little John Flowers, and the guy I was talking to, he also said that he played on the team. For the life of me, I cannot recall the guy's name. I'm sorry about that, but we had a nice little conversation, and I told him about how I covered the team, and told him about our podcast, and then I didn't see him again the rest of the weekend. But that was quite a coincidence.
And Little John Flowers went to Loy Norrix High School here in Kalamazoo,
Okay.
Michigan, and then he went to Michigan State University.
Okay, yeah, and so did T.J. Duckett. They're
Yeah.
both from Kalamazoo. Both went to Michigan State. So that was interesting. And then I was at the Corvette Hall of Fame later on that weekend, and when you pay for your ticket, they want to know your zip code, so they'll know where all these people are coming from. And so I gave them my zip code, and she goes, "Oh, where's that from?" And I said, "Kalamazoo, Michigan." And the lady behind me leans forward, and she goes, "We're from Battle Creek." My gosh, can I go anywhere without finding people from Michigan?
I guess not.
It was a lot of fun. We had a great weekend. The weather was great. Had my picture taken by a historical marker in the town of Franklin, Kentucky, which was like 20 miles south of where we were staying in Bowling Green. Dedicated to a pilot from 1948. It was flying a P-51 Mustang. Was chasing a UFO
Oh,
and got up so high they think that he might have lost consciousness chasing this UFO and crashed to the ground and was killed.
jeez.
So there's a historical marker. I got my picture taken by that.
Wow.
So
You also got video taken of a potential grave video. We're gonna see if we can
I
turn it
didn't know
into
if you wanted to mention that, but yeah, I
We-
visited 2 Pro Football Hall of Famers
we won't say whose names.
in Louisville, Kentucky.
We'll try to get the video. I mean, so you didn't have me as your
No,
This is the first time you've done a
Nope.
grave trip.
Your mom was with me, and she volunteered to take the video and the pictures. She's taking pictures of
Yeah.
me at graves all the time. That's fine, but this was the first time she had to take video, and did a really nice job.
Yeah,
I
we'll
think.
see. Like I got all 99 items from her.
Took 30 videos and
30
the rest
videos,
of the
60 photos. So I gotta go through all that and
You said you wanted a lot. I said, let's give him more than he needs, and that way he can pick and choose. And
yeah. So we'll find out. That'll be a project for the next couple weeks to try to work on and get up on the YouTube channel. So
but yeah, just a great weekend. And then I went to a Huddle House restaurant, which is kind of like a Waffle House, but much more upscale. And I'm sitting there, and my wife wasn't feeling good, so she stayed back in the room, and I went to this Huddle House restaurant. And I'm sitting there, I order, and it was just the waitress and a guy working behind the counter doing all the cooking. And he's a big guy with lots of tattoos up and down his arms, and a shaved head, and a goatee. And I'm just sitting there minding my own business, and he comes right over to my table, and he goes, "Detroit Lions. How the heck did that happen?" And I just said, "Hey, yeah, that's what it is." And he sticks out his arm and he puts it right in my face, and he's got a Green Bay Packers logo tattooed on his arm, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh."
Did you mention how the first game you ever went to was the Lions beating the
No,
crap out of the Packers?
I did not. As I left, I thanked him for a really nice meal, and he says, "Hey, you have a good day. Drive careful and whatever." So we were just messing with each other, but that was just another thing that happened on this trip. So a lot of fun. Glad to be home. It's going to take me a few more days to get over this trip.
So now your next check mark thing to do is how many people have shown you football tattoos of opposing teams? Add the Green Bay Packers to the list.
That's one.
32 more to go. I mean, if somebody walks up with a Los Angeles Dons tattoo, I mean,
Oh,
that'll
there
be
you go.
something right there.
I'd get my picture taken with that tattoo. If anybody has
You
one.
got the Dayton Triangles tattooed on your arm? Oh my goodness, let me get a selfie with you. Oh, the Rock Island Independence. Oh, that's a nice back tattoo you got there, buddy. Canton Bulldogs tramp stamp. Oh, I'm going to take a selfie with that.
All right, let's not go too far. That's
I think a
enough
tramp
energy.
stamp's about as far as Randy will go
Yeah.
for a selfie.
Okay. Anything else before we
Nah,
end
it's
this?
all good.
Okay. Well, that's it for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job.
And if Randy has influenced you to get a Dayton Triangles tattoo anywhere on your body, please send those pictures to the World of Football at TWOF Kalamazoo on Twitter.
Yes, do so. Post your pictures of your team tattoos,
Ooh.
whether it's football, I mean NFL, college, USFL. I bet you there's some people
That
with
could
some
be a fun
USFL.
video. Send it. If I would even say if you had a cool football tattoo of your team, you got a cool story behind it. Send like a 30-second video to us, man. It'd be cool to like collect a bunch of those and put together a video. I mean, I don't have any tattoos. You don't have any tattoos,
No.
but I mean, I appreciate some good ink on other people.
Other people. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing. It's fine for other people, not for me.
I mean, I've always debated on getting that 1950s Lions logo there that they just slapped on the new helmet. I've debated on getting that as a tattoo. That'd be a cool looking tattoo.
No. It doesn't look good on a helmet. Doesn't look good.
It looks great on the helmet. You're just crazy.
Where was I?
Anyway, visit theworldoffootball.com for
Oh,
news,
yeah.
links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com. You can like the World of Football on Facebook at TWOF Kalamazoo. You can also follow that Twitter account I just mentioned at TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays, even on the 4th of July.
That's right.
And are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And one of those is going away. I forget which one it was that I mentioned to you.
What was it?
We gotta start eliminating.
Stitcher?
Was it Stitcher or TuneIn? I can't remember. But simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast to hear us on whatever Alexa devices you have at home. You can also find the full audio version of this show on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@theworldoffootball, or just search the World of Football Kalamazoo. No, so please spread the word, subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment, and let us know what you think. And please come be a part of the football or football tattoo conversation.
Well, we have for a long time been recording and posting our podcast on Tuesdays. We didn't start out that way. I think we started out on Sundays, and then we went to Mondays and then Tuesdays.
Probably.
But
It was probably Mondays because it was always post NFL.
But we have done so many shows on holidays. We've recorded on Christmas, New Year's, now 4th of
Valentine's
July, Valentine's Day. I think Halloween.
I don't think we've ended up on one of our birthdays yet. That'll be
No, I don't think so. But
No.
that's probably coming. But yeah, we've done a lot of holiday podcasts, and this is just another one. So. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us. Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm Adam Snow.
And we'll see you all next week.
Happy 4th of July, American people.
Be safe.